Lieutenant Marwyn follows the shadowy specter deeper into the cavern. As he does, it grows darker the further in he goes. What is it that you want from me? Have I not done as you asked thus far and answered your riddles, completing the tasks you've given me? He asked the specter, who merely points further into the cavern. Marwyn lets out a heavy sigh and marches into a low-lit chamber. It is illuminated by bluish-green flames from magically floating braziers along the walls and the ceiling. The colors give an eerie look to the chamber, and the only thing he can hear as he enters is his own heavy footsteps until he stops in the middle of the chamber. He turns to the specter once more. All right, specter. Now that you've brought me here, what is it that you wish to show or tell me? He yells into the surrounding darkness, just outside the light's range. The specter does not say a word, and disappears into the shadows, confusing the lieutenant. Up until this point, the specter has given him riddles to solve for his training. But this time, it is different. For some reason, it has remained silent. As Marwyn searches for the specter, the ground beneath his feet begins to rumble and shift violently, knocking him to one knee. That is when he hears the sound of clashing at first, then gnashing, and finally rattling of bones surfacing up into the chamber. To his horror, a reanimated skeletal dragon emerges from the ground with a hissing roar of the undead. He quickly turns, running, trying to exit by the way he entered, with the rattle, then the grind of stone. The door to the chamber closes. Cut off from escape, he presses his back to the stone and grunts, trying to push the massive door open, but he is trapped. The dragon snarls in his direction with a hiss and charges forward, seeing his enemy closing in. Marwyn arms himself with his greatsword, gripping it with both hands. He swings, aiming for one of the undead dragon's front legs. When the sword strikes the solid bone of the creature, it shatters, leaving behind only the hilt and handle in Marwyn's hands. And in those first moments, after the destruction of his weapon, he is distraught. The warrior gazes at what remained of his weapon in hand. As the undead dragon crashes into the wall, the concussive force hurls the warrior into the middle of the chamber. He lands, tumbling, kicking up debris and other skeletal remains into the air. When Marwyn looks at his immediate area, he sees bones of many fallen predecessors scattered throughout the chamber. What will you do now, Marwyn of Solace? Will you perish, or will you succeed in defeating that which has already been dead? The specter's voice fills the chamber as Marwyn searches the remains and rubble for something to defend himself with. The undead dragon quickly turns and raises its head, opening its mouth. Its eyes glow brightly, as does the inside of its mouth. Marwyn hesitates for a moment, then tries to dodge the breath weapon. The undead dragon spews forth a concoction of not only acid breath, but undead ichor from its mouth. The cone of attack is wide, and some lands on Marwyn, hitting his left arm, causing him to howl out in pain as it ages before him, nearly rendering it useless. I see you're not faring much better than the others before you. The specter's voice bounces off the cavern's walls as the undead dragon stalks him like a snake about to devour a rat. You wish me to perish, is that it, Spectre? I will not go down so easily, Marwyn yells back into the darkness, his eyes shifting, looking for anything to fight back with. The ground trembles from the dragon's footsteps as it approaches. Marwyn punches the ground in frustration. He hears a soft metal grind. When he looks down, he sees a worn hand axe. As he picks it up, he sees the dragon's reflection. It's about to release yet another breath attack. This time, he lunges out of the way successfully. In his evasion, but not the floor, and the remains that lay upon it. They were not so fortunate. They start melting from the concoction, emitting toxic vapors into the chamber. Marwyn stares down the dragon. A glint suddenly catches his eye around where the stomach is. He tries to focus on it as the dragon hisses and growls in his direction, its reddish eyes piercing through the darkness. Marwyn charges at the undead creature at full speed with a mighty battle cry, now knowing what he must do. The undead dragon charges in response to the attack and raises its head to unleash another breath weapon volley. As the dragon head lowers, Marwyn throws the axe, hitting the undead creature in the eye, making its attack release go sideways. He slides under the dragon and picks up a worn sword from one of the other skeletons under it. Gripping the handle tightly with both hands, he quickly poises himself and leaps up, thrusting the sword forward into the glittering piece of the dragon. With an echoing clang, Marwyn's thrust hits a metallic piece embedded in the dragon's bone. With a mighty grunt and a twist of the worn sword taking all of his strength, he dislodges a shining great sword. He grabs it and falls back down to the stone floor and rolls out of the way as the dragon swipes at him. "Spectre, you asked me what I will do earlier." "I will survive!" Marwyn cried as he charged and leapt, slicing at the dragon's neck, severing the bone, lopping the undead dragon's head off, making it crash to the stone floor of the cavern. The spectre at first gasps and grabs at his chest as if he was in tremendous pain, falling to one knee. "Well done, warrior. You are the first in over a millennium to defeat what remained of my body," the spectre softly spoke. "Who are you?" Marwyn asked. "I am Lothbrok, the former king of the dragons who led my kind during the Draconic War. My soul and remains were bound here by a sorcerer after the war, but now..." Lothbrok's hand touches the great sword in Marwyn's hand. "I bestow unto you Dragoon, a sword made from my very bone. Let it light and guide you on your path, warrior." He bows to Marwyn. With a tear rolling down his cheek, Marwyn salutes Lothbrok as he watches his soul pass on into the ether of the afterlife. The stone door grinds as it reopens. Before Marwyn leaves the ancient chamber, he erects a large stone and carves into it, "Here lies the Dragon King. Let his name forever be known to the annals of time, Lothbrok, the Lifebringer." Marwyn then salutes the memorial he has created, softly saying a prayer for Lothbrok's safe passage. He then turns quietly and leaves the chamber, weapon in hand.